Thanks, Angie. You know, Labor Day is in the headlights, but we still have plenty of time for vacations and travel. And Jeanenne Tornatore, the senior editor at Orbitz, is with us today to talk about Europe. And you have some tips, not only traveling to Europe, but money-saving tips as well. So what have you got for us?
Well, first of all, it's a great time to travel to Europe. You know, as we get into August, this is the season when a lot of Europeans take their vacations. So you can find some really great travel deals, keeping in mind that there may be some places not open as they're taking their vacations.
A little quieter this time of year.
But also a great time to plan for a fall getaway to Europe. Fall is the shoulder season there, so it's a beautiful time of year to go, mild temperatures, but the deals really start to come out. The prices start to drop from airfares to hotels, and with the strong US dollar right now in Europe, and particularly against the pound in Great Britain, it's a fantastic time to take
and like you said, you're not competing with those crowds for museums and other very popular attractions because everybody's back in school.
Yeah, that's right. And there are a few things to keep in mind, you know, just tips, ways to save beyond your hotel and airfare as you head over there. One of them is transaction fees. A lot of people get caught up in this exchanging money. So number one, check with your credit card company. There are a lot of credit cards out there right now that don't have any transaction fees for foreign transactions. So take advantage of that if you can. Also use the local ATMs within your destination. Instead of going to the exchanges there, just get the money out that you need for the day out of the local ATM, have that cash with you. It's a smart way to save.
Now, of course, we want to keep in touch with people back at home, so phones and cellular communications and SIM cards, what's the tip there? Yeah,
in the day and age of smartphones, a lot of people get back home, they see their cell phone bill, and it's outrageous. Number one is check with your provider and find out what their international plan is. Some of those can be relatively inexpensive, especially for texting, if that's an easy way that you communicate, but also look at SIM cards locally as well. That can be a simple way to save.
I do know that, for example, some of the carriers have special plans, like you said, where it's just literally $2 or $3 a day and you're done for your trip. You just tell them to turn it on, and then when you get back, you turn it off.
That's exactly right. So you'll see one international plan charge on your bill when you get back, as well as maybe 5 to 10 cents per text, and it's a great way to save versus those charges adding up without the international plan.
Exactly. So what about hotels?
Well, the hotels, that's a great question. There are a lot of options nowadays for hotels, and when people go international, sometimes they're not familiar with the area, so they're not sure what to do. If you're going to book a hotel room, sometimes it's advantageous to stay a little outside the big tourist areas. Do some research, find out what some of the good neighborhoods are. It's also a great way to get a lot of the local flavor versus just staying in the big tourist areas. If you want to look at alternatives, look at apartments.
Airbnb.
Things like Airbnb, right, can be really great options and a different way to experience the city.
And of course, when you're driving, if you happen to rent a car, you got to be a little more careful because some of the regulations, although they're similar to here, there's certain areas like that are restricted, for example.
There are. You really want to know the local laws and local rules if you're going to be driving a car. I've experienced this personally in some of the cities in Italy. There are restrictions in some of these metro areas. If you don't have a permit, you're not allowed to drive inside these metro area limits. You'll have to park outside, and in many cases, if you do ignore the laws and drive and park inside these areas, you can get fined heavily. So you want to make sure that you're just really aware of the local laws.
Well, maybe Uber is the idea there.
True, yes.
Well, Jeanenne, thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.